The origin of provincial administration is embedded deep in Kenya's history. It was an administrative office set up by the British colonialists during their rule in Kenya. Among other things, the provincial administration officers were used to collect taxes and keep an eye on the natives to make sure that everyone was living according to the colonial rules of the time.
The mistrust of those who are in power towards those who are being governed, and the fear that those who are being governed, you need someone to control them on the ground.
This overbearing institution, the provincial administration, has been used by the president, by the executive, to oppress the Kenyan people.
The DCs were supposed to be puppets of colonial government when it started.
As Kenya approached her independence, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, who was to become the country's first prime minister, promised to abolish this oppressive puppet created by the British colonialists to subdue Kenyans. But when he became president in 1964 and his government entrenched itself in power, this promise was never fulfilled. Despite its brutal history, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta acknowledged the power of provincial administration and its ability to control the people, but at the same time, aside from collecting taxes and implementing the law, it was given the additional task of maintaining peace and security.
Instead of creating a ministry for coordination and administration, we ended up creating then an institution within the office of the president for one, dealing with a mixture of issues. One is the usual administration work, but also we gave them security functions.
During Kenyatta's time, the provincial administration updated the president on what was going on in the districts and provinces, and the executive also used the provincial and district commissioners to implement government policies. Ironically, the provincial administration, however powerful, did not exist in the Kenyan constitution.
There was no proper legal framework for managing administration in the country. There has never been administrative law or an administration law for the country.
This illegality was one of the reasons the opposition took to the streets in the 90s, demanding the abolition of the provincial administration, which was considered oppressive. But when Kibaki took office in 2002, he never did away with this institution. Provincial administration has in the past been used as a tool of power by the colonialists, by presidents and by legislators. So why then should this office be kept alive?
Everybody keeps realizing that when you come to office, you need it for day-to-day political benefits, but also administration of the state. And there's this argument that you need it because you want an eye on the ground for the national government.
With the controversy over the county's bill, it seems the Kenyan government is stuck between a rock and a hard place. On one hand, legislators suggest that the provincial administration be placed under the county governments so as to be controlled by the governors. However, given the history of this institution, it could be a way for legislators to control the grassroots. But on the other hand, the president's rejection of the bill could be pegged on the fact that if the provincial administration rests in the hands of governors, the central government, more so the executive, will lose out when it comes to control at the grassroots. Catherine Omwando, KTN Prime.